Oh my god. What's up, Ander? Impromptu stream. I was not planning on this. Not supposed to be a stream today. Oh my god. What a life. Ashley Moses Kirby. I mean, Ashley Moses is right. Morgan could still be a favorite in part 3. It's a quiz. It's a quiz, y'all. I mean, what are you gonna do? Anyone can win it. She knows to study. It's gonna piss me off though if Ashley does not wear glasses to this final comp. Oh, I'll be heated. I know she probably won't need it. Usually final HOH you don't need it, but like no more fucking around. Ashley has contacts. Alright, because during that last quiz, she did not seem like she could see shit. How hype were you in America when you heard the news? We heard it 5 seconds ago. Alright, let's talk about this. So, thank you, Jess and Allie, for the subs. I appreciate you guys. 22 months. So, I think low-key this is good for Vince. I think this is the best outcome for Vince. Because if he wins Final HOH, he would have taken Morgan and lost. You know? This way, I feel like he's almost guaranteed second place. He doesn't have to make any decision that he's going to regret. Like, Vince winning Final HOH doesn't do that much for him unless he's planning on cutting Morgan, which none of us think he was going to do. I guess in his mind, he still thinks if I win the HOH and take Morgan, maybe there's a chance. But, like, we know there's not. Vince had a crash after the competition. I heard. Yeah, Frankie. Frankie hosting the Final HOH Part 2 is so bizarre to me. Sorry, I'm, like, kind of naked, but I just wanted to stream. It's not going to be a long stream. It's going to be 30 minutes max. But this is insane. There is one exercise I want to do. Because I was going to do the stream a couple of days ago where, like, where would all of the Final 4 rank as potential winners? And now I think we've basically narrowed it down to 2 possible winners. I think it's Morgan or Ashley. I find it almost impossible to imagine a world where Vince wins at this point of the game. Because now Ashley's going to cut Morgan and bring Vince. I think Ashley wins that scenario. Or, you know, Morgan wins, and either way, he loses, right? Takes Ashley, he loses. Takes Vince, he loses. The thing is, maybe now, with Ashley cutting Morgan, Vince definitely gets Morgan's vote. That's huge for him. He has Morgan locked up. He probably has Lauren locked up. Does he get anyone else? Like, he needs Keanu. And that's, like, after that, it gets really hard to imagine him getting votes. He needs Will and Rachel to think that he's a mastermind, I guess. That's the only hope. If Morgan or Ashley win, I win the pool. I think you're winning the pool, Mom. Is this your 3rd time winning the pool? 4th time? Worst case scenario is Ashley cutting Morgan and losing. Vince winning the season would be hilarious. Ashley prepping a fire speech. I need Ashley to prep less of a speech and study more. The Final HOH used to be a crapshoot. Now it's a quiz. And I'll tell you what, I read, so like as jurors in the jury house, we recorded questions for the Final 3 HOH. I recorded like 15 questions. They only asked one of them. There were some hard-ass questions. It was like, what color lane was I in for Cockadoodle Zoom, the week 3 veto? They usually don't go with those hard questions, but there's some hard ones. Always bet Keanu will do the dumbest thing, voting for Vince. Yeah, I think Keanu's going to vote for Ashley. Because I think Keanu's been so steadfast of, like, Morgan's got to go, Morgan's got to go. Him and Ashley have been talking for the last week about how Morgan needs to go. I think I might have said Ashley. Morgan needs to go. And seeing Ashley win the Final HOH over the 2 people who are supposed to beat her, and then she cuts Morgan. after everyone's been saying Vince is not going to get any votes. I think Keanu will vote Ashley, but, like, you never know, right? Besides starting the judges and having good reads, what has Ashley done besides winning the second part? I think it's, like, saying that is basically saying, like, comps matter more than anything else, which is true. But, like, she saved herself against Will, which was very valuable. She saved herself on Lauren's HOH, getting Adrian up. She's been actively playing in her self-interest the entire game. But she doesn't have that many moves to her name. How could she? Like, she's played well, but she can't have a stacked resume. Like, saved herself week 1. Like, her whole journey is, I was resilient, I fought, I won when I needed to, I saved myself when I needed to, I made the dominant alliance, I won the final HOH, I cut the best player of the season. That's a winning game. I think I've been lower on Ashley than most, which I think was reasonable. I don't think I was wrong. But if she wins the final HOH and wins, like, we've seen this game before. This is a winning game. Play low key, self-preservation, plan to cut the person at final 3, pull out the final HOH. It's not like she could have done anything differently post-jury. It was all comps. It's, like, not her fault. Like, I mean, that's why I would give her a lot of credit as a winner. I don't think I would rank her particularly high. We'll see. I'll mentally do the exercise today, but I don't know. She could be better at comps. Being better at comps makes her a significantly better player. She's not good at comps, like, at all. But, you know, you don't need to be amazing at comps. You just need to be solid. Martins, thank you for the 5 gifted. And then Valorant chips in with 3 extra. All right. If people wanted to gift subs, now's the time, I guess. Valorant's chipping in. They know about my Sova, clearly. My KO. It doesn't have to be such a good game to be amped up. Example, Josh. Yeah, I mean, she's better than Josh. That's not close. I think Josh nowadays would be very good at Big Brother. But not back in the day. SeaWorld got a sub. That's fucked up. SeaWorld Orlando got gifted a sub. Damn, Valorant. Do we rank Ashley winning game above or below Steve? It's below Steve by a lot, in my opinion. Because Steve was a lot better at comps. Basically. And Vanessa's way better than Morgan. And I think playing alongside Vanessa is harder than playing alongside Morgan. But their games are very comparable. Like, they follow a similar flow chart. But thank you so much, Martins. I appreciate it. Very, very kind.
Literally, fuck off.
I'm trying to see if I have the PowerPoint I used. I don't even know if I did this PowerPoint. I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't. So we're going to have to freeball it. Any thoughts on Cody as a roundtable host? Does this hurt her chances? It does not hurt her chances. If it does, Cody is doing a terrible job. People are saying America is a better player on the challenge than on Big Brother. I think people don't have any idea what happens in the challenge house. It's an edited show versus a non-edited show. Every single player will look better on the edited show than the non-edited, without exception. If you grab your favorite Survivor player, the best Survivor player of all time, and put him in Big Brother, you're going to be like, damn, they're much better at Survivor than Big Brother. It's like, nope. We just don't see the winner's mistakes on Big Brother. Or on Survivor, rather. Suri's the same on Survivor. It's just, you know, it gets smoothed out. Vince kind of deserves to win. No, he doesn't. You got to make that case out back. Vince was bad. Like, Vince, I was riding with Vince for a long time. But what the fuck has Vince done in this endgame that's benefited him? Him getting rid of Lauren is insane. Like, Vince has absolutely tanked his chances. And he's had the opportunity to not tank his chances. He should have been in the position to cut Morgan and win the game. Granted, he got screwed a little bit by Morgan comping out. Like, it's not like Vince could have gotten rid of Morgan, but we know he had no plans of getting rid of her, so I don't care that he got screwed, you know? I think anyone wins against Vince. I think Vince gets votes. If Ashley cuts Morgan, Vince gets Morgan and Lauren. Will thinks highly of his game. Like, I could see a path where it's like 5-2, 4-3. But I think it's unlikely. So let's let me close out all these tabs. And let me share my screen. Okay. So let's do this based on clearly better than both. So this top category is everyone who is clearly better than both Morgan and Ashley as winners. Will, June, Maggie, Dan, Hayden, Andy, Derek, Steve I'll leave on, Nicole I'm going to put up here, no, Cody's here, I'm kidding, Chelsea's here. I think these are like the no-brainers, no one's close. Like, maybe people would argue Nicole, I'm not arguing Nicole. I think this is pretty clear. Now, this is like, I think they're better. I think Xavier's better. I think Steve's better. I think Casey is pretty close. Boogie, I don't know. Lisa, I don't think. I think Drew is pretty close too. I think this is basically it. I think this is the ones I would like distinctly put better. Okay. So now I would say better than Morgan. Actually better than Ashley, but not Morgan. So do we think Morgan's a better winner than Ashley? That's the first question we have to discuss. Damn, two dog. Por qué? Why are you pulling these out nowadays? I think you have to say Morgan's better than Ashley because Morgan is so much better at competitions. That matters. It matters. Morgan just won comps. I understand that. And if Ashley won the comps, she'd be in that position. But, like, comps matter. They do. I don't think they'd be far off. Better than Ashley, but not Morgan. I genuinely think, like, I think that's it for me. I'm pretty low on Lisa's game, if that's what people are thinking. Depends on how you consider comps. Comps are important. They just are. Like, it's a factor. I don't think we should consider it as, like, new era comps are all that matter. But being able to win them consistently is just a huge point in your column. I'm surprised you haven't put Boogie up there. I mean, I don't know what to do with Boogie. I think Boogie's game in All-Stars is better than either of what they've done. But I don't know how to evaluate Boogie. But, like, I think Boogie would probably be here. Honestly, for me. I think Steve over Morgan, I feel confident about. I just think, I really don't understand why Morgan is that good of a player. Like, because really the argument for Morgan is two things. She is active strategically. Is she effective strategically? Sometimes. She's active. That's really the credit. And she's a comp beast. Those are the two things she has going for her. And that's good. It's a good thing. Because the social game, total mixed bag. Strategically, what she plans to do, total mixed bag. Like, that's kind of where she is. And when you look at all these players in this tier, it's like Steve was good at competitions. He was very good strategically. Pretty mixed socially. People liked him, but he wasn't a social butterfly. He wasn't beloved in the house. He beat Liz in, like, a split vote. Like, it wasn't that impressive, right? Granted, Austin and Julia were on the jury, so it's like, what are you going to do? Xavier is just basically okay at everything. He's really good at comps, solid socially, solid strategically. Boogie, solid at comps, solid strategically, solid socially, at least on BB7. Drew, not an expert, but he was a comp beast in BB5 at the very least. Strategically, he was smart enough to cut Diane. Socially, I'm not going to pretend to know. He got a lot of votes in the end. Actually, it was a 4-3 against Cowboy, right? It's kind of crazy. And then Casey, strategically, socially, really good. Comp-wise, one of the best ever. So they're all just kind of flawed. So I think this is the list. And then let's do a new tier, at or below. Worse than both. I don't care about Morgan. How do we feel about this? My reveal. How do we feel? Rachel too low? I think Rachel is one of the lowest. As a player, Rachel's better than a lot of these people, but her winning game is not her strongest game. This is not ordered, by the way. But, come on. I'd say Taylor's worse than both. I think Taylor is better comps-wise than Ashley and had a much tougher draw. Like, her house was pretty fucking brutal. I think Taylor's circumstances had me elevate her game quite a bit. Y'all weren't there for BB13. I don't know why people are arguing for Rachel. Like, in this tier, I would probably, like, who cares about Eddie or Morgan? But, like, I would have Josh. I mean, I would have Jag better than Rachel. I don't care what you guys say. Dick is worse for sure. I don't care about Adam. I don't know. I'll put Rachel above Adam, sure. Jordan, I would have above Rachel. Ian. I don't know. With Ian, probably a little below Rachel, and Josh is, like, right here. I think this would probably be my list. Yeah, it'd probably be like this. Jag and Ashley tier, I think. I think Jag has too many flaws in his game. Like, Jag, I think, has higher highs than everyone in this list, but he has lower lows. So it's like... but yeah, I think this is about right. I think, like, Morgan... So let's talk about Ashley as a player. She is mixed socially. That's just the truth. Ashley has moments where she's really good socially and moments where she's really bad. She's not a... One of her talents is not reading the room, right? So that hurts her a lot. Strategically, she is very sound. She thinks the right thing. She's very logical. She doesn't have crazy conspiracy theories. She doesn't spiral. She's been with it strategically for the entirety of jury, which you have to give her a ton of credit. Yeah, Jag was a mess pre-jury, absolutely. So was Morgan. Morgan was terrible pre-jury. Ashley, do you guys remember Ashley weeks 1 through 3? Ashley was horrendous. Like, this is how... we just have short memories. You know what I mean? I can't do this argument again. Morgan was this close to being evicted. Ava had a panic attack, and Vince, like, guys, come on. We were all there. Ashley was terrible pre-jury, and Morgan was pretty bad pre-jury. Everyone thought they were fucked. And then you bring it back, mostly because comp wins for Morgan. And for Ashley, her threat level was really low. And that's the knock on Ashley. She's not respected. Much at all. But if you get in the end against someone who's respected less than you, you could win the game. Kevin Jacobs of BB Can 10, one of the best winners in Big Brother history. He was not respected or revered like Dan in the house. No one thought of him as this mastermind. But he was against Josh, and none of the jury respected Josh. Low key, I think Vince is like Josh if Josh was a billion times worse. Like a billion times worse. But it's like a similar thing of like they're just weasels who are like emotional and people like view them as weak and like don't respect their strategic gameplay because of how they conduct themselves. Zach didn't use the power to protect Morgan. Don't tell me that's what you think. Summerhood, tell me that's actually your perspective and what you think. That's your perspective. That's why Zach didn't use the power. Come on. Like if you're just making an argument and you want to throw it out there, sure. Like if you were a lawyer, I would say make that case. Throw it out there. Make the other side disprove it. But we all know that's not what Zach did. Zach did not like Morgan. He left the house and talked mad shit about Morgan day one. Come on. Like that's fan fiction. And it's fan fiction based on Zach's own voice, but we have the benefit of being able to like watch the show and their private conversations and everything. Ashley's game improved a lot around week 5 or 6. That's every winner. Yeah, basically. Most of them. That's the benefit of making it to the end. You have a big resume. You have terrible weeks, you have good weeks. Like, I think you guys forget, like, Morgan was... If Morgan doesn't want Jimmy evicted, Jimmy doesn't get evicted. And that was a ridiculous move by Morgan. And it put her on the back foot. It got her a hair's length for being evicted. She got saved, in my opinion, due to a lot of Rachel's work. And Morgan played a role in it. Morgan should get some credit. But I think acting like Morgan bailed herself out in a way like Vanessa bailed herself out when she was backdoored is just not true. At all. And then in the post-jury, Morgan was targeted every single week. It was very similar to Jag. Jag had 2 allies. He had Bowie and Matt. Everyone else was targeting him. Everyone's targeting Morgan, except Morgan has Vince. And then she kind of had Ashley, but it didn't really matter. All she needed was Vince. They won everything. But like at any point, Keanu, Lauren, Kelly, Ava, they're all targeting her. Rachel and Will, we just don't know. But it's not like Morgan had a great relationship with them. I think they would have targeted someone like Vince first. But there would still be a lot of weeks after that where she'd be vulnerable. You know what I mean? I mean, we were Outback. I think if I win the final 9 HOH, there's a chance I wouldn't. But I final 8 and on, yes. The final 9 HOH specifically, like, I think it might have been blue, potentially. But I think, you know, I think it's very likely if we're in power, it's Jag. But again, that's the final 9 versus final 8. Like, it's just that's the debate. It's not not like people were protecting him much further. Since Ashley won part 2, that means she gets to compete in part 3 against Morgan in a quiz. The winner is the final HOH and decides who to cut. And the whole thing with Ashley was getting to part 3 felt impossible because parts 1 and 2 are generally quite physical, and Morgan and Vince have dominated her in physical competitions. So her winning part 2 was a huge upset. I'm thinking Ashley loses 5-2 against Morgan. I think she loses unanimously. But there's no shame in that. Like, if she is able to get Morgan to cut Vince for her and then she loses, that's a job well done. Like, what is she going to do? She lost a quiz. It happens. Yeah, it's a clip show tonight. Recap episode. No, but that's what I'm saying, Elle. Like, I think they might have gone after Vince first, but they didn't have a great relationship with Morgan. And also, they weren't players who could win HOHs, right? But I don't know how much credit to give her for, like, her Will and Rachel relationships. Like, she wasn't exactly nurturing those. But I don't think she would have been their target. With the blockbuster going till final 6, like, it's kind of dangerous. I think for her, the thing is, you look at the final 7 and on, she just had Vince. But she comped out. Until now, maybe. There's a jury segment tonight. Okay. Does Vince not get credit for being called out as a mastermind by Rachel and still making final 2? I think you're leaving out some huge details out back in terms of no one thinks he can get votes in the jury anymore, which is why he's going to the end. If people thought he was genuinely a jury threat, he would be evicted. Morgan and Ashley would already have made a deal. Morgan would have cut him. I don't think it's impressive for a schemer to make it to the end if they have no chance of winning because no one respects them. Like, Rachel incorrectly clocked him as a mastermind, and then he proved that he wasn't a mastermind, which is why people continued taking him. And honestly, all he did was have a relationship with Morgan and win competitions. That's all he did. Like, no one else. And I think Vince's first half of the game was relatively impressive. Like, he had good moments. Playing the middle, flipping, having people always be loyal to him no matter what. I don't think he did a ton of good work with Keanu or anything, but, like, you know, you got to give him credit for people blindly loyal to him. But the fact that he had all this power and all this leverage and all these allies and did nothing with it, made every move to benefit Morgan, is just crazy. Getting rid of Lauren is a diabolical move. It's one of the only people he could beat in the end. Vince's Paul 2.0. There's not like a single similarity between the two outside of they're not going to get jury votes or enough jury votes. Like there's not even like one comparison. They both have prominent facial hair. Sure. His social game was so good. He is underrated. I think he is underrated because people are acting like he's the worst Big Brother player of all time when he's not, but he isn't good. I think you could argue he is above average only because most Big Brother players are terrible. And I think Vince does make it to the end game most of the time, and he's good at comps. Like, that enough makes him slightly above average, but he is not a good player. He's just not. Like, we've seen him in power enough times to know that he doesn't have the mental fortitude to play Big Brother. He doesn't have that dog in him. Vince has more in common with Nicole Frenzel than Paul. So, Golden, interesting you say that. I've been trying to compare Vince to people all season, and I just don't think you can. I think Vince is just one of a kind. I think he's similar to Nicole in the sense of, like, he's whiny and doesn't want to take credit for anything. But Nicole was not perceived the way Vince is perceived. Vince is perceived as so much more meek and so much more pathetic than Nicole. And it's just because of how they carry themselves. He's got super low self-esteem. It's tough to watch. Yeah, and I do empathize with him in that. Like, that just sucks. But, like, everyone else sees it, too. And that's why no one respects his gameplay. What is it specifically like about Nicole's game to put her up so high? I think Nicole maneuvered through that game extremely well. It was a very complicated game with a lot of very strong players. I think she got kind of bailed out by Cory getting evicted at the final 4, but also getting Paul to take her at the final 3 is kind of ridiculous. She's the first HOH. She kind of set up the power structure. She's put on the bottom after they flip on Paulie and Cory and her, and then she's able to get into the duo group with like James and Natalie. It was just a very, I think, scrappy, resilient game where she was active the whole time. And in the end game, I think she played almost flawlessly. But, you know, I think you could argue that Nicole is a much better player than any of her individual games. Like, really, the reason Nicole is ranked so highly in the grand scheme of Big Brother is because she has so many impressive games, not because she has one singular awesome game. But her games are better than Morgan and Ashley's. BB18. 100%. I mean, guys, I think you have to consider, and this, I'm not asking you to be super empathetic or sympathetic towards Vince, because it's a result of his own actions. We all understand that. But he's very obviously thinking his entire life has crumbled around him. And I feel bad for him. You know, like, it's not in terms of like, oh, so unlucky Vince, he doesn't deserve it. It's not like that. It's just like, he thinks outside of the game, his life is cooked. That's why you're seeing him upset. It's not about the competition. Does that make sense? Easy top 10 player of all time. She's higher than 10 for me. She's like 6 or 7. I think Dan's higher, Will's higher, Derek's higher, Cody's higher, Andy's higher. Chelsea's probably lower. Yeah, she might be 6. I think she's the best woman to play the game. Best woman player. Well, it's on level 100 in the house, and I think you guys don't get, like, going on Big Brother, being on social media, he hasn't even gotten to that part yet, like, it makes things worse in terms of, like, your mental health issues. There's a lot of benefits that come from it, too. I don't know how many of them Vince is going to get to enjoy. I've gotten to enjoy a good amount of them, but, like, just think about, like, when you felt at your lowest and then just magnify that experience. Of course, it's not like it's a death in the family, death of a loved one, or some terminal illness. Like, it is a game at the end of the day, but it just feels so big, everything that's happening to you in the house. Where would Vince rank? I mean, he'd be in this bottom tier. I think he's better than Dick, Josh, Adam. He'd probably be, like, right next to Rachel, funnily enough. I don't know which side of Rachel. He'd be worse than Jag and worse than Jordan to me. But, like, he'd be Rachel, Ian, somewhere in here for me. Would Cam 26 be a better winner than Ashley? No. Because Cam played himself into a no-win situation. I think we learned that Cam would get 0 jury votes against anybody. And Cam, for what it's worth, has a much better social game than Ashley, but he's not as sharp strategically. I do think Cam and Ashley are extremely comparable players in terms of, like, I thought they were getting slightly overhyped because, yeah, they seemed pretty competent strategically and they were trying to maneuver through the game and stuff like that. But I think people underestimate how easy it is to play the game in a smart way when no one perceives you as a threat. And just because Cam looks like a threat and we see Ashley's good gameplay on the outside, no one perceived them as threatening at all, which allowed them to just, like, get by in weeks where other players couldn't. And sometimes you could say it's threat management, but I think more so it's just, like, who you are and how you conduct yourself. And sometimes it's, you know, subconscious bias gets thrown in there. There's a lot of factors. I did not, Kenzie. I did not. But I think it's a good thing to talk about. How much stock do you put in winners who needed production help? It matters. It's a relevant factor. I think the only players who you would say have that, like, really bad stain against them is Rachel, Dick. I think Jags is much less, but, you know, it helped. Taylor, I don't know if I would consider, you know, like a production helping her. It was just like Paloma got ejected. Andy benefited for MVP twist. Yeah, but when it's that indirect, I don't care as much. But it matters. Yeah, I think Rachel just doesn't win the game without some of those twists. Evil Dick doesn't make jury without those twists. Like, Jordan because of the coup d'etat. I don't know. The thing about the coup d'etat is, like, coup d'etat helped Jeff and Russell more than Jordan, because I feel like Jordan always makes it deep anyways. She might have been in, like, an Ashley position where she would just kind of, like, need to win comps at the end, which she ended up being in anyways. But I don't know what happens if Jordan doesn't get the coup d'etat. Ian with extra veto. Yeah, like, those are... I think Ian with the extra veto, like, at least he went ahead and won it himself. You know? It's not like it was just handed to him in Pandora's box. And it wasn't like a twist made to help Ian. But, yeah. I was saying, I don't think this is a bad outcome for Vince. I think if Vince won this final HOH, he would have brought Morgan, regretted it for the rest of his life. Or brought Ashley, lost, regret it for the rest of his life. But maybe he takes Ashley and wins, in which case, okay, that would have been awesome, but none of us think he was going to do that. We know he wouldn't. So now he's basically locked into Final 2. He doesn't have to make the tough decision to either lose his girlfriend or lose the money. He's going to get second place. Move on. Yeah, Derek was fine without the reset. He did not need that. Yeah, I was trying to help Dan, exactly. Dan running around saying the machine's done, the veto chip's gone. It was so funny. Vince getting tanked to final two is honestly best case scenario. I mean, it fits. It fits his story. Is there a world Vince threw it? No, there is not. If you've watched how he's been acting over the past few minutes, past hour, he did not throw it. Well, now, so here's the other piece of it that we have to talk about. Because Ashley is not only in a position to cut Morgan and win the game if she wins HOH, she's also in a position to strike a deal with Morgan. And she really should. I have not entered a PM tournament. I played a lot back in the day with my brother. But I was never super, super deep into the PM lore. I was a melee guy always. But, like I was saying, she's in a position to make a deal with Morgan to cut Vince. That's the danger of the final three. Whoever's in part three, they always strike a deal. Now, that deal isn't always honored, but they both are going to make the deal. They're both going to spend a ton of time with each other talking about how Vince has all these locked-in jury votes, you know, because they're both trying to convince each other of the same thing. In case I lose, take me. And that's a way that Ashley could squeak into the final two and get second place money in the worst-case scenario where Morgan wins. Unfortunately, if Ashley then wins and cuts Morgan, she loses Morgan's vote. But you would have lost that vote anyways if you evicted her over Vince, right? So making that deal doesn't lose you anything if you're Ashley. I'm a Fox player, Akemi. How dare you say I got Sheik player vibes? That's fucked up. He was up 15 minutes and blew it, misunderstood the instructions. Damn. That's interesting. I low-key want to be a Falco player about him. Get lasers. Does Vince vote for Ashley if Morgan cuts him right there? Live? No, Vince hates Ashley. He'd respect it. I don't think he'd respect it, but, like, Morgan's done him wrong a few times. He always goes back. I think they vote for each other in the end. There's no reason. Yeah. Jay Wirt. I've seen Morgan in that HOH bed for 3 weeks. I just read that, yeah. Melee DK. That's an unconscionable opinion. That was J Mook. There's Wait. Sorry, I've been checked out of Melee for a while. Don't tell me. J Mook's obviously the big one. There's J Flex. There's J. Help me out. I know those are the only two I got. J Cam, right? Morgan could do nothing that would make Vince hate her. I mean, for Morgan, just why would you cut Vince? There's no reason to. People forget how much Kelly hates Ashley. Kelly was pretty defiant about how she was never going to vote for Vince. It feels weird for her to turn around and vote for Vince after that, but yeah, I mean, that's the problem with Ashley. Her social game was not good. She has a lot of people who hate her. Did she do anything to these people to warrant the amount of hate? I don't think to that level of hate, but, like, we don't have to pretend like Ashley's got a great social game. It's good. You know, like, it's okay. It's a mixed bag. The people who like her. But, you know, it's nothing special. Ashley for sure has Ava's vote. Keanu's most likely. Rachel's, if she can sell it properly, and most likely will. Against Vince, I just think Vince is going to get Lauren and Morgan, and then I struggle to see him getting any other votes. Because Ashley's going to have a good speech. I don't know what Vince is going to say. The past, 4 people who left the house have talked about how they're not going to vote for Vince. Granted, Lauren probably will. You know? There's I'm not saying Vince is dead in the water against Ashley, but Ashley will have the credit of just cutting Morgan, which is just such a big deal. David from BB15 was good at 64. That is random. David Gurton is his name. I don't think I want to play with him. Do you think you could beat Jason from 49 in Melee? Probably not. I'm not going to act like I'm super good. I'm gold. I'm Slippy. Like, I'm not. I'm all right. Like, I could beat every beginner. Everyone who thinks they're good at Smash but doesn't know how to wave dash, I could beat them. But actual good players, that might be tough. Top 25 PM at one point. It's pretty good. You know your rank. You're probably pretty good. Gold is like, okay, he's played the game before. Cutting Morgan is the biggest move in the entire game because no one could cut Rachel. Yeah, even still, like, Rachel was fun. It just felt impossible for her to win the season, but, like, you know, it felt impossible for her to do a lot of things. Could you go 1-2 at a local? Depends on the matchup. Not if I'm playing Falcos. Pretty good at the Fox Ditto, though. Actually good at Marth matchup, too. Ashley kept it real, which rubbed people the wrong way sometimes, but it also allowed her more credibility when she planted seeds. I think sometimes when they say, like, Ashley kept it real, it's like, yeah, but that's not good sometimes. Like, sometimes you gotta keep it fake a little bit. They revealed the Mastermind's identity during part 2 today. Are they gonna mention it on feeds? Or are they, like, gonna cut the feeds every time they mention it? Can we get a final HOH tier list for stream ends? I don't think so. I don't think it's very interesting. Like, what? Like, what? I keep seeing you post it, but, like, what's the... Like, I'll pull it up just to, like, look at it, but, like, it's just who won the final HOH comp. Like, I don't know. My gut tells me Steve is here. Paul's here. Cody's here. Ian's here. Dick brought his daughter. It's pretty good. Mackenzie's here. Jag's here. No, like, I don't know. It kind of just, you know. Monty, for sure. Casey took Tyler, which I guess was the right call. The final HOH winners. Ooh, do you think Frankie's the mastermind? Doesn't that kind of make sense? Why else would Frankie be hosting the comp? That would be the worst ending. It's not Frankie? Okay, it's not Frankie. I was going to say, like, why... That's interesting. Well, I'm glad they revealed it, at least. I'm glad they revealed it. Because I was worried it was just going to be some enigmatic character. But we are getting an answer. Intern Andrew would be an insane choice because the house guys have no idea who that is. Who is it? We don't know, but they announced it during part 2, and I think they have, like, house guests on lockdown about it. They can't say. I still play Melee every now and then, but I don't go to events anymore. I barely went. I went to, like, 1 or 2 back in the day, like, when I was younger. Florida. But I would like to go to a big event, like a Genesis or something. Genesis or like Big House is Cooked. SmashCon, maybe. I think they still do some version of SmashCon. Supernova, they call it now, right? Paul does make sense, huh? Andy Jr. is an anagram of Randy J. You went to Apex 2014. That's a good tournament. I heard that tournament was shit, though. Like, ran terribly. Supernova venues turning into an IKEA. Fuck. Smash Summit was your introduction to Mafia. Yeah. I think it was a lot of it. I knew Mafia before from speech and debate, weirdly enough, but... I'm so uninvested in the Ryder Cup, to be honest. I like golf, but... Guessing you don't keep up still then? No, I do with Melee. But, like, isn't Zane just, like, the GOAT at this point? Like, Like, Mango's obviously out of commission for a bit. It just feels like Melee is kind of in a lull right now. Zayn and Cody swapping 1 and 2. I thought Zayn kind of established himself as 1. Sammy, thanks for the tier 1. I appreciate it. Zayn from One Direction is the GOAT. You know, I know someone else named Zayn Malik. Weird, right? Masterminds Arissa Cox. Oh, God. They would never. I did not watch The Amazing Race Episode 1. I'm not going to watch. I don't think. I'm bitter. But also, I know what happened, so I just, like... The real reason I'm not watching is I don't like the show very much, but... the show's okay. I think the 60-minute... Like, old seasons are really fun. But I heard some Izzy confessionals. They were pretty fun. Saying she's going to beat Jag again is so funny. That cracked me up. Taylor giving Jag the power at people mad. I kind of get it, where it's like, all right, these people aren't going anytime soon. These guys are going to be heavy hitters. Let's make sure they're on our side. I think strategically it makes some sense, but like when your ex-boyfriend's there with his brother and one of your other good friends is there, like I would have just given it to who I was closest to personally. If I was on the cast, I'd probably give it to Izzy, even though I'm closer to Jag. I'm like, Jag, you could figure it out. You could survive this round without it. Is that Colin and Christy Butcher? Because I did watch that. That was awesome. Well, don't pass on that message, Messi. Don't continue spoiling. Football game was good. Cardinals are ass, but they know how to string you along, the Cardinals. They're not bad enough to not pay attention. If she wanted to give it to a winner, she could have given it to Chelsea. I'm sure they'll ask her in her exit press. That was Colin Christie. Dexter watch over The Amazing Race sounds way better. Well, did you know we're watching season 8 of Dexter? So I'm not sure that's even true. Man, this season sucks. It's just so bad. I forgot how much I don't like Hannah McKay. No spoilers in chat, please, because America's probably here. But oh boy, I used to like Hannah McKay. I don't know why. What a painful character. Her and Dexter's scenes are just miserable. Even if they have crazy intense sex. The Bears won 1 game. I'm rooting for the Bears. I love Caleb. I'm rooting for Caleb. America with the opposite opinions. She hated this season. She was despising it until the last episode. We watched, it was the family vacation one where they go down the Keys and it ends with a shocking death. So now she's back into it. Are you going to watch the Dexter spin-offs prequels? I've watched the 2 sequel series, New Blood and Resurrection. I haven't watched First Blood. But I heard it was good. I just don't have any interest in watching it, honestly. Also, I know who the bad guy is, and it kind of pisses me off where I don't care. No, same Sydney. It was crazy. I think it helps a lot, though. Like, I really think the ending of Dexter is not as bad when you know that there's other seasons, you know? Chappelle, oh my God. You saw me in this robe showing all my cleavage. You said, I got it, Raid. Well, I appreciate it, Chappelle. We're celebrating. We're all rooting for Ashley to win, right? To be honest, I think Ashley and Morgan are not that different in terms of quality of player. Morgan's much better at comps. Ashley's, I think, slightly better strategically. And they're both kind of okay socially. Like, I think it's pretty, you know, I think Morgan's a bit better. You had to come see them titties. No, not that kind of stream, Chappelle. That's on the recap with Rob tonight. If you guys don't know, America and I are doing the recap of the recap with Mr. Sesternino, with the boss man. So that should be fun. Team Dr. Ashley Moses Kirby. I'm telling you, Ashley is Steve. It's like, what if Steve was a little worse at comps and a little bit less... The real thing is, like, Morgan's just much worse than Vanessa. So I think Steve overcoming Vanessa is more impressive than Ashley overcoming Morgan. But overcoming Morgan's impossible. She's been immune for 10 fucking weeks. So at the end of the day, it's like, It's not like Ashley had a couple shots and missed them. Like, and hearing that Vince just misunderstood the rules and crumbled is so funny. Like, I do have empathy because I know how much I cared about the game, and that would be so devastating, but come on. Vince. America always seems nervous when she is on with Rob. I think Rob is nervous when he's on with us. It's always the nervous energy. But, you know, we live, we move. You genuinely think the mastermind that they'd revealed to them during part 2? Who's the mastermind? Chappelle, do you have a theory on the mastermind if you're still here? I've been saying it's Boston Rob. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. But Paul would make sense. My crackpot theory is Evil Dick, because that would piss me off a lot. And that's what Big Brother does. But Boston Rob would be my locked-in prediction. I don't mean this in a mean way, but Vince seems like the type to choke at important things. I get it, but like, you can't say, not in a mean way, but Vince feels like the type to always fall short. Yeah, that's pretty mean. The mastermind being intern Andrew makes no sense. I'm sorry. They joked about it already on Unlocked. Not to mention, like, the house guys have no fucking idea who it is. Like, what reaction would they be asking for? Whoever it is would be so underwhelming or infuriating. They did show Kirsten's tweet on Unlocked, or her skeet, so I don't know. She's been in the BB casting mix before. Paul in LA, interesting. So is every alum ever. By that metric, we could say Xander might be the mastermind. It's very possible. Michelle Costa, she the mastermind? I believe Paul is in New York. I believe they live in New York. Tyler, yeah. I don't know. Tyler would be cheap. Like, they already used Tyler as, like, the mastermind's assistant, basically, right? Zach Wertenberger. Zach wanted to be the mastermind. They declined. He's actually the alternate mastermind. So that's pretty exciting. The mastermind drops out. He'll be the first one they call. Brett would be a weird one. Why would it be Brett? Raven would be funny. Yeah, it could just be Dan, right? Because here's the thing. They wouldn't need Dan to do anything until this week. Like I hope you guys understand this. The mastermind, whoever is revealed, has not been wearing a mask and reciting lines. We're all on the same page about this, right? Like, just so it's not like Dan's been like on Zoom with his mask. They're just showing up. Dan was streaming this morning. That makes it a little bit less likely. But you know what I mean? So like, I wouldn't read into that part of it. Big D from BB23. You don't have to specify. We all know Big D. Come on. They were living in the house this whole time. Sydney, don't make jokes like that. It was in their lair, not in their house, okay? Because their original base was destroyed by the nuclear bomb. That might be my favorite chat BCC message. Did you all catch Kylan's question about the mastermind's lair? It was so funny. Kylan was like, it was like episode 4, and he's like, wait, so did they ever resolve the mastermind's lair? Like, did it just blow up? Is it gone? Like, Kylan, what do you think the follow-up was going to be? You thought there was like a continuance of the story? Like, were there any survivors? Like, Kylan's for the lore first. It reminds me of my friend Jonathan, who plays Elden Ring. He's like all about the lore. It's all he cares about. It's got cool lore, but like he's playing through the game and he's like acting as if he's the Elden Lord. You know? It's like, what do you mean? Like Kylan would be in the house, and Kylan's a good player. I think Kylan's a better player than me. I think he's proven he's a very solid player on the challenge. Kylan would be the type in the house to be like, I don't care who I bring to the final two. I want to bring down the mastermind. Guys, we need to band together. We can't just let this guy run amok in our house. He would try to take the mastermind to the final too. He wants the strong people to duke it out in the end, you know? Jeff Probst, and he announces that Survivor 51 is a BB alumni season. That is actually more unlikely than Evil Dick. Not even Jeff being the mastermind, a Big Brother Survivor season. Survivor would cancel its own show before allowing a full cast of BB players. Ooh, Blake Shelton promoting The Road. Hufflepuff, what do you think? Keith Urban, maybe? Is that a possibility? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I'm trying to manifest you on another show. How about you manifest me submitting my closed memo for legal skills in a social context? That's what I need. Seen somewhere you didn't get cast on Amazing Race because they were saving y'all for a Survivor duo season. I just said no to the Amazing Race because I care too much about streaming. I didn't want to miss too many weeks. Like, I'd come back to, like, less subs. Like, that's just not an option. I have an empire to run. It's going to be Donna Kelsey. It's interesting. Mike White would be crazy. It'd be so fucking random. Like, why? And that's, like, the White Locust. That would be the twist. Okay. Well, I said I was going to stream for 20 minutes. It's been an hour. Who's surprised? But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks, Chappelle, for the raid. Is there any one else I should raid? Who's live? I have played a non-zero amount of Fire Emblem games, but I haven't played much. Not much. I played the Three Houses, I think, was the one I played for a little bit. I don't think there'd be anyone live these times, but check out America and whoa. Let me stream for another 5 minutes. Hopefully pop at our live show soon. Hey, pull up to Boston. New York even, maybe. But thank you, Anonymous, for the 5 gifted subs, and Valorant for chipping in. For putting a few sprinkles on my Sunday, if you know what I mean. But I appreciate it, Anonymous. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are, however you are. I appreciate the gifted subs.
Literally, fuck off.
The redraft was fun to watch on the Patreon. I'm glad. You know, I just thought it's always fun doing retrospective things like that. But yeah, we got to watch Glee. Tonight, it's not going to be tonight, probably tomorrow. Tonight, we've got a podcast to do with Mr. Sesternino. So catch that, 9:15 Eastern on RHAP. You guys know how to watch. And until next time, bye-bye, y'all. Literally. Thank you, Anonymous. I appreciate you. You're insane. Hope you all have a good one. Enjoy the episode. Shout-outs to Ashley, Giesling, Kirby,